welcome back to the Constitution Line by Line. I'm Paul Fabrizio.
And I'm Don Frazier. This is a interesting journey we're on.
Yes, it is. I'm a political scientist. He's a historian. And we're taking a look at the Constitution line by line.
Because it's important.
It is. It is. So, we ready?
Ready to go. What's our line?
We're talking Article 2, Section 1, Clause 6, compensation. For the president. President gets paid already. The president shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he shall have been elected, and he shall not receive within that period any other
emoluments
from the United States or any of them. Meaning for many of the specific states.
Yes.
So, all right. First and most importantly, the president receives a paycheck.
What's he get paid now?
President gets paid $400,000 a year.
Okay. Any cost of living increases?
There hasn't been one in a while.
But he gets one even though it says it can't be increased or decreased?
No. Congress would vote him a pay raise at some point, but it's been years since there's been a pay raise for the president.
But you can't get that pay raise during your term in office.
You cannot get that during your term in office, and nor can it be diminished. And so what the framers were thinking about was Congress being mad at the president, and so they're just going to cut his pay. Yeah, love it. And no, you can't do that.
Okay.
So the president gets his money. And in addition to that, the president also gets entertainment expenses, which I believe is $50,000 a year. And
that's actually not all that high.
Yeah, when you think about what the president has to do, it's one of the mysteries of Washington where the White House pays for things like when you have a state dinner. Where's that money come from?
Yeah, who's picking up the tab for that?
Part of it comes from the entertainment budget. Part of it comes from the State Department.
Yeah.
They have ways to work it out. And I've seen efforts to try to document all the money, and it's been pretty complicated.
Byzantine.
And that's the right word, mysterious. That's very good. I like Byzantine.
Yeah.
So no one's quite sure. But anyway, the president does get this chunk of money that is supposed to be used
for M&E.
and so what does the president have to spend money on?
That's a good question. I guess if you're, out pressing the flesh and you want a hot dog, you could whip out your wallet, pay for a hot dog like a common Joe.
Okay.
But then submit receipts.
Not quite. Not quite. So what does the president pay for? The president pays for the food that the president and the president's family eats. Okay?
Now, do they have to pay? They have to use in-house catering? So is that essentially a budget line for in-house catering?
There are White House chefs who take care of them. But the White House usher actually has to go and buy the groceries and make sure that the president gets fed, but that comes out of the president's pay.
Really?
And
the grocery bill.
The grocery bill
comes out of that M&E side, that $50,000.
No, that's not of the $50,000.
Oh, it comes out of his salary.
That comes out of his salary.
Okay.
No, the entertainment is for other people.
And so if you buy somebody else a hot dog,
right,
while you're out pressing the flesh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
keep your receipts.
The presidents have actually sometimes complained about the cost of groceries. And so, sometimes it's the first time they lived in D.C. and, why does this cost so much? And so
maybe they should eat more beans and cornbread.
And presidents sometimes have imposed budget restraints on their family.
I imagine so.
Because it's more expensive than they anticipated.
Thursday night is not lobster night.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just one of those things. I mean, there is a White House chef who prepares their meals and tries to cater it to what the president wants. And again, there's always issues with that because we've had several presidents who've wanted certain foods and their spouses said, no, that's not appropriate.
Yeah, that's just off the hook.
Yeah. So you need to eat healthier. Our current president, of course, this is a prime example. He loves cheeseburgers and hamburgers, and he likes his steak with ketchup. And his doctor and
steak with ketchup.
Yeah,
man, that's going to lose a lot of votes.
Well, that's what President Trump likes, apparently. But his wife and doctors have told him he needs to eat more healthy. So whether he is or not is another story. But
This
anyway,
Donald is kale.
yeah. But anyway, there you go. That is paid by the president. And the other thing the president has to pay for is their clothing.
Really?
Everything else, health insurance,
Yeah.
medical care is provided by the government, transportation provided by the government. So he gets armed limousine, he gets a helicopter, he gets his own plane.
Yeah. He gets the use of them.
He gets the use of them, but they're his.
Yeah.
And
Exclusive use
and he
of
doesn't
them.
have to pay for them either. He doesn't have to pay rent at the White House.
But he doesn't get to enter that stuff on his balance sheet.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, so it's
no, he doesn't.
for the exclusive use of.
Yeah, exactly.
And he doesn't pay rent at the White House.
He doesn't pay rent. He doesn't pay the cable bill. He doesn't pay utilities. That's all provided free of charge. And he doesn't have to pay for his medical expenses either.
Can you bring in your own furniture?
Yes, you do. And in fact, it's, when the president's being inaugurated, there's this big dance at the White House that's really cool, apparently. Moving trucks come in, empty the old president's furniture. Other moving trucks arrive and put in the new president's furniture. And they get it all done within the span of several hours.
Wow.
Yeah, they got it all choreographed. The White House usher is a genius at these things.
The White House usher is bound to be one of the coolest jobs on earth.
Yeah, and occasionally they write books about what they do, and
Yeah.
it's a real good behind-the-scenes look at these people that we elevate to this office, but in the end are just normal people.
But and institutionally, we remind them, hey, you're just one of us, but for 4 years you're going to be a little higher on the hog.
Right.
But keep your receipts for that hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. Donald Trump, our current president, is one of the few presidents. I mean, he's a billionaire, so he's one of the few presidents who is not accepting the salary. You have to get the salary. You're going to get paid regardless of whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
But he then immediately donates it. And
To
various organizations that are part of the federal government.
Okay.
I believe his last donation was for veterans.
Okay.
He previously has donated to the national parks. I don't remember other donations that he's done.
Okay.
So, that's his decision. You will get paid. He can't say, just pay me $1 a year.
Yeah.
No, you will get paid because that's what
And
the
you're going to get paid
Constitution says.
whatever Congress has appropriated
Appropriate.
for your pay. Yeah.
And then what you decide to do with it is your own business. And so I believe the last president before him to donate his pay was John F. Kennedy, but I'm not positive about that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So
but you get paid. I mean, and it's one of those things I think we need to think about and recognize. How much should you pay a president? $400,000, that puts him in the top 1% of salaries. But
he's cheaper than a basketball coach at a
Yeah.
D1 school.
yeah, exactly. So, is the president being compensated fairly? And also, this creates a problem for the rest of the U.S. government. How much should you pay for, like, your Surgeon General? How much should you pay for people with medical degrees and who are doing administrative work? So if they were working at a state level, their salary might be $700,000, $1 million, something like that. Well, they go and work in Washington. They can't make more than the president because they're his employee.
Yeah.
So they make less. So they take a pay cut to move to one of the most expensive cities in the country.
Which means that you probably have to have some pretty good reserves if you're going into government service.
Exactly.
So the chances of you getting some everyman off the street, Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
Yeah, it's a little harder when you confront these other realities.
The realities of a household maintenance.
Yeah, and so many people have to take pay cuts. And it's simply because the president's salary is $400,000. The vice president, I think he makes like $220,000.
Wow.
But that's sort of where we are.
Yeah, cascades down from there.
Everybody else is not going to be making, a quote unquote great amount of money.
Yeah.
To us peons, it seems like that's marvelous.
Yeah, it's not a bad job.
It's not a bad job, but at the same time, if you have executive experience, if you're, a big shot in a university or something like
if you're the top of the heap at a university, even a modest university, you're going to hit that salary.
Yeah, and so how much of a pay cut can you take? So it's just one of those issues. And
it is significantly more than professor pay. I'd just like to point that out.
Yes, we would. But it's one of those things. Should we pay our president $1 million a year?
That way the cascading pyramid will work out a little better?
Yeah, I mean, for example, a 4-star general makes about $200,000 a year or so. Okay, he's commanding several 100,000 people
with issues of life or death.
Yeah, conducting a war.
But if you're a basketball coach at Tech,
name a university. So is our pay system really out of whack? But how would we feel with the president making $1 million a year? I mean, that he's not a normal person.
He's not an everyman anymore. Yeah. He's not Mr. President. Yeah. So he's Mr. President, sir.
Yeah. So there's issues that go into this, and Congress tries to strike the right balance, and it's a difficult sort of thing.
Interesting. So that's our line.
Compensation. Who would have thought it'd be a big deal? But it is.
Who knew that we'd spend so much time talking about it?
11 minutes.
No, that's crazy. All right, so that's our line, and we'll come back next time with another line.